Welcome to our presentation on Michael Jordan History in the Making. My name is Victoria Molina, and this is for our class at St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens for SPO 755. Basically, we will be discussing the trials, tribulations, successes, and achievements that Michael Jordan has done as a professional National Basketball Association player and throughout other achievements in his lifetime. The point is basically not to identify certain scandals or gossips that follow Mr. Jordan, but rather to understand and recognize how he got his start and specify different sports careers and achievements throughout his life thus far. We are able to better understand certain events that have occurred in his life by discussing these certain points and figuring out why he is such a well-known and well-rounded person who has put his heart and soul into the love of the game and in his life. Let's begin. First of all, we want to understand what basketball is. In the year 1891, Dr. James Naismith invented the game of basketball by using only peach baskets and a soccer ball, as you see here in the picture presented. The game was to be played by his students in his YMCA class so that they had a sport to play in between the fall and spring sports. Football was played in the fall, baseball was played in the spring, but there was no specific winter sport to be played. It was also a sport that he created to be able to be played either inside or outside, depending on weather and space and availability. It was something that was very versatile. Naismith's idea has obviously adjusted over the years, but the main concept has always been there, and we've seen basketball have its highs, have its lows, its twists, its turns, but the love of the game has always stuck. Now, here we see different stars of the sport. We have Dwayne Wade, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, but our main topic for today's discussion is Michael Jordan. He has recently been able to be pronounced as a part of history because he has recently officially retired for the 20th and 21st century. He has tackled many hardships, nosed the ropes in the world of sports, but most of all, he has been an inspiration in his lifetime to many for many reasons. Now, Michael Jordan was born on February 17, 1963. He has had a career like no other, and this is why I chose to inform all of you about him. Now, he is an American basketball player, an Olympic athlete, a business person, and an actor. He's considered to be the best basketball player of all time because he basically dominated the sport between the mid-1980s and the late 1990s. He has been able to take part in many different undertakings throughout his lifetime, and he's just someone that many people want to be, but they don't always realize that Jordan was not always one to be known. Throughout high school, Michael Jordan was an exceptionally well-rounded athlete. He was a team member of the football, baseball, and basketball teams, but at that time, his real stardom back then shined through baseball rather than basketball. He was a very big and outstanding center fielder and pitcher, as we see here on our slides. When Jordan tried out for the basketball team, he would then be placed on his high school's junior varsity team rather than varsity because he was not tall enough during his sophomore year. He was a very good player throughout his time on the team, but according to the assistant coach, one of them, Ron Coley, he said it was never really discussed to even put Jordan on their varsity basketball team. Even though Jordan knew he was a great baseball player, though, his heart was taken by basketball. Time moved forward, and luckily, Michael Jordan grew taller. Finally making the high school varsity basketball team, Jordan began to show his soon-to-be fans what he was made of. His junior season in high school captured the attention of his peers, teachers, coaches, and many college scouts. He was very assertive his junior year, much more than his sophomore year. As you can see here, he averaged 25.4 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, and 5.3 assists per game. What an achievement. By the end of his senior year in high school, Michael Jordan found his passion. Starting his real career, he was signed to play for his college basketball team at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. The legacy of Michael Jordan was only beginning. Now, seen here To the right, we see Michael Jordan in his North Carolina outfit. He starred in 3 seasons at North Carolina, and it was an understatement to say that he was making a name for himself. Michael Jordan was just starting to be a true star. He displayed star-like characters on and off the court. By the end of his junior year, Michael Jordan had won 2 prestigious awards, the Naismith and the Wooden College Player of the Year awards. And in 1984, Michael Jordan decided to leave North Carolina and enter the draft in the National Basketball Association. The Chicago Bulls, as we see here, decided to pick Michael Jordan 3rd overall. Now, what many people don't realize is that the summer before he began to play for the Chicago Bulls, what did Michael Jordan do? Well, he decided and was chosen to become a part of the 1984 Summer Olympics basketball team. It was an international multi-sport event that took place in Los Angeles, California that particular year. Michael Jordan helped the USA team go undefeated throughout the tournament, which made them claim the gold medal. This was an amazing and a prestigious thing to add to Michael Jordan's resume. The start of Michael Jordan is incredible, and it was just, he was getting ready to go for the big leagues. Now, dropping out of college and going to play for the Chicago Bulls in 1984, Michael Jordan began his ultimate career and would attract millions of fans across the world. But he did come back to college in 1985 and 1986 to finish his degree, as he was only 1 year away. Now this slide is going to be very condensed because you see here all of the listings of almost every single award and achievement that Michael Jordan has been a part of. What I really want to touch base on that many people don't know is my second bullet point, which are the Air Jordans released. Now, he was known for his ability to leap into the air. Michael Jordan was known from the free throw line to be able to go and dunk that ball, and people called him Air Jordan. Thus, Air Jordan sneakers have been given their name, and his name has been given meaning. The same year that he was named Rookie of the Year and all these amazing things were happening to him, Michael Jordan released his Air Jordans by Nike. Now, many people don't know how the deal came about, and it was very hard to come by at first because Jordan really only wanted to sign with Adidas. But after a long summer of playing in the Olympics and having many meetings, and he just decided that, you know what, Adidas doesn't want me, let me hear out what Nike has to say. And they offered him a deal, and he came to the decision that Nike was the way to go, and they have been a forceful team ever since. They worked hard to create this new and original sneaker that would be distinctive and noticeable from all of the rest. And this new basketball sneaker was considered to be a breakthrough in the basketball shoe design. This particular sneaker became one of the most dominant forces in the shoe industry and still is to this day. Continuing on into the deep legacy of Michael Jordan, we learn that 1993 was one of those years that involved many successes, but also many hardships, unfortunately. After a very difficult season of fighting to get back their NBA championship, as we saw on the previous slide, they had won 2 different three-peats. With Michael Jordan on their team, the Chicago Bulls won their 3rd consecutive NBA title against the Phoenix Suns. Jordan was once again the winner of the NBA's Most Valuable Player award as well, as we saw on the previous slide, and the year had started off on a high. But the summer of 1993, unfortunately, was a sad one for Michael Jordan because his father passed away in a very terrible accident that was a robbery attempt, and he was murdered by 2 men. Because of this terrible tragedy, Michael Jordan decided it was time for him to retire. Now, in February of 1994, we see Jordan decide to live out his father's dream of him becoming a professional baseball player. Now, Jordan was considered one of the worst baseball players to be known when he joined the Chicago White Sox minor league team, which is called the Barons. And we have to remember that that's because he hasn't played since high school, his senior year in 1981. This is it is over 10 years later. But what was so great about him going to play, it was the sentiment for his father, as well as it strengthened his true passion. He may not have had many successes in the baseball world, but it made him realize where his true passion lied and allowed him to rest and regain his strength and spirit to return to what he loved to play most, basketball. Coming out of retirement, Michael Jordan returned to the Chicago Bulls basketball team for the 1994 and 1995 regular season. Jordan was still one of the most profound players the league had, and he was also making a name for himself in other areas of talent, as we see here, such as the movie Space Jams. This is why I said Michael Jordan is an actor. Not many people realize, if you have not seen this movie, that he has acted. While making the movie, though, Michael Jordan insisted that he would spend his free time practicing every chance he could for the upcoming 1995 and 1996 season with his Chicago Bulls. He wanted to make sure that he returned with fierce determination and proof that he was still able to play the game after his first retirement. Fast forwarding to the year of 1999, Michael Jordan decided to end his career on what he considered a high note. He retired for the second time, but it was alright because he was decorated throughout his career with many awards, having plenty of endorsements, and having many successful achievements such as his shoe line contract with Nike. But his love of the game would not end there. In 2000, Jordan became a part owner and president of the basketball operations for the Washington Wizards, and as well, he gained ownership with the Washington Capitals hockey team. Also in 2000, Jordan celebrated the first year of his $1 million grant program to help teachers make a difference in their schools. When he realized what his true passion was, he decided to come back out of retirement in 2001. What made this end of retirement announcement so special was that Jordan stated that he would be donating his entire salary to the recovery effort for the victims of the 9/11 attacks. How humble and considerate of this to do, Michael Jordan. We thank you. Although he assisted the Wizards in improving and stepping up their game, his real mission in coming out of retirement this time around was to use his fame and fortune for the good of those around him, and it helped him be even more amazing and more humble, and his fans just love him even more. Continuing on for the NBA, we see that Jordan has played 15 seasons. He decided it was time for his last and final retirement to take place, and he played his final game with the Wizards against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, although Jordan may no longer be physically in the game, basketball still remains to be a huge part of his life. He holds ownership to the Charlotte Hornets as well, and has still been heavily involved with sports merchandise endorsements. He has had many opportunities and moments in his life that have kept him to be well known and liked as an individual since his retirement, and this is just many of the things that we could say about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is one of those players that a person could go on and on talking about, looking for research on his life, telling others about the many terrible and wonderful things that has happened to him, and where he has gotten today and how he has gotten there. But I chose to focus more on his sporting career and what made him stand out from other players to be called the NBA's greatest player of all time. I know we were short on time, but I hope you have enjoyed this presentation of Michael Jordan and who he is and how he came to be what he is and what the sport of basketball is truly all about, because Jordan has proven to show us that he truly is an all-around, well-versed, and very humble individual on and off the fields, the stages, and the courts. Being recently retired, he is an individual who has tackled many hardships, knows the ropes in the world of sports, but most of all, he has been an inspiration to all and continues to do so for future basketball players and fans of tomorrow.